Make sure you make a date with us each and every single Friday. With me, DJ_Liza Diva.
DJ Cold.
And me, Wanjiko. This is Club One Extra.
Today, we are diving into a space that has for very long been dominated by men, but not anymore. I'm talking about the construction industry.
I was really intrigued by these skyscrapers. It was the 90s. There was barely anything like that in the city. And I just wanted to be a part of it. It felt like a sci-fi frontier.
Yes.
And going through my architecture studies, I was just really inspired and driven how architecture really frames the built environment.
It's not an easy task, but when you are in that company, you found those male fundis.
Yes, you did.
They normally say that a woman cannot control me, a woman cannot lead me.
Most important thing is to be known as you're good at what you do. I think that's the most important place to start.
When you have a passion on something and you want to do it, believe in yourself, carry yourself with head high, trust in yourself and trust in the process.
Want to enjoy free-to-air digital TV with crystal clear quality? Here's how to get started with Signet. Step 1. If you have a smart TV, you're good to go. If not, get yourself a digital set-top box. Next, connect your set-top box to an aerial and the aerial to your TV. Use RCA cables, yellow for video, red and white for audio, or simply plug in an HDMI cable for high-quality sound and picture. Now, do an auto search on your TV. Just follow the prompts on the screen. And that's it. You're now tuned in to Signet. Sit back and enjoy a wide range of free-to-air digital channels. For technical inquiries, call the Signet hotline on 0770 572 656.
The 9th day of September 2025 it is. Good morning and welcome. This is the great KBC. You're in time for KBC News Check, a program that we have earmarked to ensure that we keep you updated on all the current happening in real time. My name is Njue. Lensa Odingo will be my colleague on the sign language interpretation. For this first hour, we'll be looking at the current state of affairs in our nation. And when we talk about the state of our nation as we speak, it's almost, 3 years. We have 4 days more. Yeah, on 13th of this month, we will be celebrating, or President William Ruto and the Kenya Kwanza administration will be celebrating 3 years in office. What have been the hits and the misses? We'll be touching on that, and I know it's a conversation that will drag on for the rest of this week and month as well. And of course, another thing that we are keeping tabs on is the mass voter registration. IEBC, now fully constituted, mentioned that beginning the last week of this month, that the month of September, the mass voter registration exercise will begin. And also something else that is touching on the politics is also matters the by-elections. We have about 6 MP, 1 senator, and a host of MCAs posts that have to be filled. Well, that is enough ground to cover for this, but just to mention a quick one, and I know this was also carried in our news and is everywhere, that the e-procurement has been halted by the High Court, and also the compensation panel operations have been halted by the court until the matter that has been pending in court is heard and determined. Lots of ground to cover. Many thanks indeed for joining us. Allow me now, first of all, to introduce my panelists who have already arrived in studio, beginning from my immediate left. We have Bosco Mutegi Kiura. Bosco Cura is a policy and governance expert. Karibu sana, Bosco.
Asante sana. Thank you very much.
Good to see you. What have you been doing in the politics? It's a while.
Good to see you. It's been long.
Yeah.
And but we appreciate you are here. Thank you for the invitation.
You're welcome.
And it's good to always come and discuss issues that are affecting our country.
Yes.
As we try to move forward.
And I'm quite sure you will be covering a lot of grounds when it comes to the mass voter registration, because we noticed a lot of voter apathy when it came to the registration exercise the last time. And young people really didn't come out in their numbers that they have mastered over the years to say, yes, indeed, we want our voice heard and felt as well. Just next to him, we have another political and governance expert, Diego Ngoge Wilson. Karibu sana, Diego.
Thank you very much, Ben. I really appreciate the management for taking an opportunity to call us and discuss matters of in Kenyan politics.
Yes, and yesterday, allow me just to point this out, because this is also tied to what we are talking about. Yesterday, Tharaka Nithi empowerment was trending on X, and we have seen the efforts of the government, and more specifically the Deputy President Kithure Kindiki in matters empowerment. I would like to pick your mind in regards to the 3 years that we have the Kenya Kwanza administration have been given an opportunity by Kenyans to serve. Let's start there.
Yeah, I think one Kenyan should appreciate that we have come from far, and at the moment that the current government was taking over, there were several challenges. The inflation was so high, which meant that people earned more money than the economy, and we have come to a place where now we can appreciate that we are able to, as an economy, to be able to purchase the common commodities, and the government has really tried. And what was trending yesterday is a fact that after the Kenyan got the deputy president, every part of Kenya can feel the leadership of the deputy president. Unlike many other previous years, when we, of course, you know what happened, we had the previous deputy president, who was not felt across. I think it became more of a regional leader than a national leader.
Of course, we'll be talking about more in regards to these empowerment programs and how much can we sustain that. And Bosco, I also would like to pick your mind on the same, just a general overview. I know we're going to get into the finer details of it, of the Kenya Kwanza government scorecard, the 3 years that the head of state has governed the country.
Yeah, I think it has been, we have had a fair share of challenges as a country, because when you look at the public debt, which the Kenya Kwanza found, it has been having bring challenges to the government. However, it's a good thing that the government and the Minister of for Finance and the Treasury have been able to manage that. We had also the challenges of the agencies and all that. However, there are also positive things that the government has made strides. We have seen the government, like the president went to China the other day, has been able to get agreements on partnerships of doing the expressway from Nairobi to Mombasa, the road from here in Westlands to Rironi, and these other projects like doing the Tharaka Nithi, the famous Tharaka Nithi bridge, which has been killing people. The government has been able to do, what is it called, giving incentives in agriculture. We have seen the price of coffee and tea coming up, and the farmers have been paid a little bit higher. However, the citizens and the people are always a human being is always looking for more. So like for example, tea has been paid around 60 shillings. People of Mount Kenya are happy about that. However, they will always say they want more, to up to 200 shillings. Coffee on average has been paid 140 in most of the factories, or rather more than 100 shillings. But people still agitate for more. However, we appreciate the things that the government has been able to achieve. Recently, we had HAFCON, we had Chan, which has been a success story, which has put East Africa in the best place in Africa. So there are good things that we have been able to achieve. no matter the challenges that has been there. And the challenges will always be there. So how you maneuver within the parameters of these challenges is what matters at the end of the day.
And gentlemen, I like how you started this conversation, because we're talking about the glass half full. Because when it comes to how Kenyans are feeling at the moment, most of them tend to lean on the half empty side. But allow me just to also welcome another panelist here, an experienced one for that matter, Oscar Omondi, who is not only a political analyst, he's also a governance expert and also a university lecturer. Karibu sana, Oscar.
Asante sana, Bwana Troy.
It's been a while.
It's been a while between me and you. We've had the other guy here, but
yeah.
Asante sana.
Karibu sana. Maybe an overview of the KK administration over the 3 years, because in the next, 3-4 days, we will be celebrating the third anniversary of President William Ruto's administration.
Yeah, if I say something, I will just probably be repeating what my colleagues have, because the general overview, the misses and the whatever they've won, but you know, the one thing that has been challenging for the Kenya Kwanza administration, for it to come into power, it had to give a lot of promises. It had to promise heaven. But you know, when people win elections, they can only deliver earth, what is very, very possible. I remember one time Tony Blair, the Prime Minister of the UK, once after winning an election to become Prime Minister in the UK, when he was questioned by broadcasters like you, that now you've won election, what can you tell the UK population? He said the first thing we'll do is to go back to our population and our voters, to tell them what is actually possible vis-a-vis what we promised during the campaigns.
Even before he begins?
Even before he begins. That out of these 5 things that we promised, these 2 are deliverables. Yeah, but these 3 we were campaigning. So I think the Kenya Kwanza went so much and promised for them to win election. Sometimes for you to win election, you must say things that are out of reach. You can say elimu ya bure, and you can say free money for people, and you can say 6,000 everybody, and you can say all this. But practically, it's not easy. So it's been difficult for the Kenya Kwanza to manage all those expectations vis-a-vis what they can deliver. Secondly, we've had a generational issue of this Gen Z. You know, we had a very serious youth bulge in Africa as a whole and in developing countries. And the youth bulge, and now with the coming of technology, which has taken most of the jobs. Because what jobs that people could do 20 years ago can be done by a single machine today. And that has been a problem. And again, now we've had a big population who are leaving the universities. And probably also our education system is not very practical for the market we are also facing. And again, now, like my friend talks about the president negotiating with China. I think China also coming to our economy has placed a hit on our economy in terms of employment, because China, a good partner, but killed the Juakali sector. For example, when the express road is done, we don't see a huge number of people working in the express road. All of a sudden, we have the express roads. All of a sudden, we have the outer ring road. Without people in that environment feeling the employment because of that facility being done there. Long time, if you had a project like Sondu Miriu project in wherever it is, in Sondu, that environment will feel that for the 3-4 years where that project was being built here, people got employment, lives improved, things happened, people took their kids to universities and all that. But with the Chinese type of thingy, the locals don't really interact so much with those projects, and that has not made us, even in infrastructure that we are doing, has not really created employment. So the lack of unemployment, the Kenya Kwanza has serious challenges that they're not overcoming it, and now when many people are not employed, even if you bring the cost of living down, they will still not manage it. Because the question is, they don't have money. They're not working. So if you make price of bread or price of unga from 250 to 150, they will still not buy it. So the issue of dealing with the crisis of living which you know the revolution that started first with the Unga revolution, the Sufuria movement that we had here, was a big challenge to Kenya Kwanza just 1 year into office. And now again, the second year into office, when they're marking the second year into office, then we had the Gen Z issue. Now again, we are under a broad-based system, and there are still very many challenges that we are going through. But Kenya is becoming a proper, organized country, so that sometimes changes in government in the next 3 or 5 elections, a change in government will not necessarily change the economic and the patterns that are working. It will be stabilized. I think in other countries like the West, you will find change in government doesn't really affect the businessman down there. But here still, it really affects because we overturn policies from black to white. You know, we need policies that can take us, we need 20 years, 30 years policies, so that any change of government doesn't really interfere with vision, for example, the Vision 2030. That Vision 2030 should have been taken by all governments, whoever comes into power. We remain to the course of Vision 2030 because 2030 is there. Yeah.
Diego, I'm looking at picking from where Omondi has left in regards to opportunities that are there. And without fairness, the Kenya Kwanza administration, just as Omondi has pointed out, we've had the hits and the misses as well. And when it comes to opportunities, what we saw Gen Z come out last year to talk about is, of course, because of the lack of opportunities that are there. But after that, we saw the government come up with empowerment programs, and we have seen a number of constituencies in the country. I would like you to also talk about the opportunities. Has the Kenya Kwanza administration really hit when it comes to youth and opportunities?
I think they've tried, but they've not exhausted opportunities. Personally, I think Kenya has a lot of potential. If we can only manage what we are getting well and seal all the loopholes of losing finances through different ways, we have a lot of opportunities. One of the opportunities that probably would advise the government is industrialization. Kenya has a lot of resources that includes minerals, that includes agricultural, but most of our crops, the value addition is done out of Kenya. You can imagine if each and every county, the 47 counties that we have, if each of them had an industry for something that can work within that specific area. In Kisumu, for example, we can process fish from that area. We can process cassava from that region. There are some areas that grow rice. They can be processed. The same case to Kirinyaga. In the area where I come from, we have things like green clams, which is a high-value commodity in a country like India. And if each of these counties, the government seeks to know what can this county and value and export it. If we can go that in direction, it will be one of the areas to create business. Number two, as my brother said, I think technology has eaten into the job creation. However, we can still use the same technology to create more jobs. Because we have seen some people, Gen Zs, they are doing the write-ups and they are earning money from abroad. So it's a matter of sensitization. What can we do with what we have so that we can at least have some jobs created? In the majority of our parastatals currently, you will find quite a number of people. They are either multitasking or some, they are aged. If you ask me, Ben, and if I was given an opportunity today to work in government, one of the advices I would advise them, we can come up with a program. Why should you work in government for 40, 50 years? You were employed at 18 or 20, you work up to 60. Can we have an arrangement where we have a limit of the number of years you work? The constitution that came in 2010 or thereabout, it brought about a limit of a governor. You should work for only 10 years. Whether you are young or old, a president can only work for 10 years. Why shouldn't we have people working in government for example, 20 years, 25 years? So if you got into government at 20, then you know at 40 I'm retiring. or at 45. If you go there at 30, it is automatic. You know when you are retiring. So that we can have everybody have a small share of the Kenyan economy as we earned on other areas where we can get jobs. Then I think the rule of 30% and I think that is 70%, it needs to be revised. That if you are investing in Kenya, then 90% of the employees must be Kenyans, or even 95%. Yeah. And then we work on the taxes, because majority of the people that have investment capital, they are going to other, let me call them competitors. They are other nations, but they are competitors to Kenya. Because everyone is competing with what is available. If we can work on taxes, if you are investing in Kenya for an industry, for example, a textile industry, or a fertilizer industry, or a motor vehicle industry, and you're investing in a certain region, say you are opening a motor vehicle industry in Isiolo, for example, then you can have that region declared as probably tax-free. Then you will tax the employees. Of course, you will have to pay as one, everyone that is employed. Yeah. And the government gets revenue from an area that it didn't exist. You've just given a tax-free region where people can come and invest. And from that tax-free region, whatever people that are employed there, you are able to tax people, but the company itself, they came because of the tax, the way you've handled them in the area of tax. So I think I cannot exhaust, Ben. There is so many opportunities in Kenya, and as I have started saying, the government has started. Probably by housing, you see they are doing a lot of housing projects. They are doing a lot of infrastructure, roads are being constructed. But the majority of the projects which government is looking at, for example, as an employment opportunity, they are timely, they are seasonal. It's for 2 years, the road is done. Yeah. Another 2 years, houses are full. So can we look for something that will get us into future?
Indeed. And Bosco, I'm looking at the young generation. I always say last year was a Damascus moment for the nation when the young people really came out in their numbers and their voices to also claim a stake and opportunity in this country, in as much as they earned a lot of opportunities. And I'm looking at what maybe our neighboring countries have done. Remember what Madam Suluhu Hassan, the TZ president, she said that there are some opportunities that will be limited only to the youth of Tanzania. As a Kenyan, you know, you can travel, you can do business, but there are some businesses where they are only reserved to Tanzanians, and we have seen a different case in our country. But I would like to see, I would like to see ourselves also headed in the same direction, in as much as not talking about jobs for some certain natives or countrymen, but I would like the same opportunities distributed equally in our country. I would like you to talk about the opportunities that the youth have, in as much as we are saying that there are no jobs. We really need to create the opportunities as well.
Well, yeah, thank you very much for that question. And I would say this, when you talk about the Gen Z and the Damascus movement, I would like to appreciate that our Constitution, Article 232, provides for the people being involved in policy making, and that is public participation. So I think the government came out last year and appreciated that what has been lacking previously sometimes is involving the people in making decisions, and especially the young people. So what are the opportunities that are there for the young people in terms of employment, as you have asked? I think the young people in Kenya have so far leveraged on technology to create jobs for themselves, to try to create jobs from even abroad, the institutions that are, the other countries that are employing them, even when they work from the houses and all that. What also needs to, the government needs to appreciate, it's that the young people have a different way of looking at things. The young person today appreciates if they are allowed to go to work with the genes. They appreciate. They say it's the brain that does the work, not the clothes. So we need to appreciate them, and as a government, as we create more opportunities for them, we need to have that harmonized. We need to align our policies as a government with the needs of the Gen Z and the young people as they are growing each and every day. How? When you talk about them appreciating getting in different attires when they are working, they also appreciate working different hours. I employ some of them, and I will tell you this. A Gen Z can come late at work. You have told him to come from 8 to 5, but he will come there for 3-4 hours. But he can do the job for the 8 to 5 with those 3-4-5 hours. So what these young people don't want is the conventional way of doing things. They are trying to run away from that. So if these guys are allowed to have a platform whereby I can see even the Gen Zs are even here in this place, and if you look at how they dress and all that, do they deliver? That's the objective. At the end of the day, is the job done? You get? So the government needs to appreciate the technology that we are in, about the AI and all that, and incorporate that in the policies. When they are making policies for the young people, that's why the young people always ask, when you are making decisions and policies for the young people, are the young people in that table? You get? Yeah. So the young people need to be involved in the policy making, and we align whatever we are planning for them. It should be aligned with the trends and what they like and what they don't like, so that we can have programs that are accustomed specifically to suit them. The other thing I want to appreciate is the current regime has done some strides for the young people, even using the affordable housing. I know of MCEA has involved the Juakali sector guys who have been registered there, the welders, the plumbers, and all that, who have benefited from this project. I think there's so much happening with this regime. The problem is sometimes the information is not getting out there to the young people to know. Because when you talk about affordable housing, the people who are providing the steel, people who are providing even the manpower, the mujengo and all that, and even the architects, most of these guys are involved are the young people. When you look at government, my colleague here talked about bringing funding and all this to the young people. Every government previously have tried to bring funding. You remember Kibaki came with the youth fund, women fund, and all that. Uhuru picked up with that and all that. We have seen Ruto government with the Hustler Fund, though whether it worked or not. Some people, it has some success stories. Others, it doesn't work very well for them. We have seen the empowerment programs going on all over at the moment, giving border guys their borders, giving people saloon equipment and all that. I think there are different models that can be used to empower people without necessarily, regardless of their education levels, regardless of what they have trained in. I've seen MCEA giving certificates to people who have skill, but they don't have documents. Someone who has been a mechanic, he has the skill. Someone who has done masonry, huyu jamaa alitoka tu high school, the next thing he went to a fundi, he was an apprentice, he ran with this fundi throughout. That guy is an excellent fundi. But when you ask for tenders from government, he has nothing to show. So MCEA, I think, has come up with the programs, trainings, and eventually, once they evaluate the skills and all that, they give these people certificates. That is what is going to help our people to move forward. One thing I would like to challenge our young people, me being one of them, is to look at the area of agriculture. I've been listening to world leaders, and I think someone like Dangote, for example, he has been very emphasizing on if the young people want to get rich soon, like they have always thought about, two things they can think about: technology and agriculture. Why agriculture? We are talking about agriculture. If you don't have even a lot of funds, if you don't have a lot of capital, you have a small land, a quarter acre that your father can give you, then you put up some sheds for chicken, which you can be getting eggs. You know, practical things that
they keep themselves busy.
They keep themselves busy. Why do you have the problem you said, the professor said about the challenges we have in the universities? When we train our children, the skill they get from the schools, sometimes they are not aligned with the job market. So you find that someone has a PhD, has a master's, but he can barely get a job in this country. But if you have now, assume that you have that skill, you have been packaged with that skill, but now appreciate what is practical on the ground. You can use that knowledge now to do agriculture in a smart way. The smart agriculture and all that. So I think these are the things that we need to look at as the young people.
And I like the route that you've taken. Indeed, young people are doing a very good job. Even in this studio, I can see the likes of Akina Phineas, Akina Timothy Kiplagat, the young generation. And they are doing a fantastic job. Last year, again, Omondi, they came out in their voices and in their numbers, and I would want us to track this discussion on the mass voter registration that is coming up. Because if at all their voices have to be heard, they really need to register as voters. We saw what happened in 2022. Not many youths were registered as voters. And even worse, not many youth went to the ballot to choose their leaders. There are opportunities in governance and leadership.
Yeah, I mean, the young people and voter registration disaster, not on Kenya, not in Kenya, in South Africa, in America. The young people are not probably motivated to participate in electioneering processes because sometimes the young people want change. If you go to out for a drink with young people, they do what we call drink here 2 minutes. They always want to change all the time. The guys I teach at the university always want to change all the time. So young people want quick fixes. And sometimes they're not really interested in processes. And sometimes when the processes are too long, and they get bored. And that is why even when you talk about applying for jobs and you put these particular positions, applications on websites, sometimes it doesn't even just reach the young people. So sometimes when I get some advertisement on a website, then I send the link on WhatsApp. That guy will be able to go on WhatsApp because he's used to WhatsApp, or you send on Instagram. Because this is where they are, as opposed to somebody who will go to Kenya Broadcasting Corporation website and blah, blah, blah. And Kenya Broadcasting Corporation management can be like, you have to apply physical. So you have to write a letter and take a matatu or take an Uber to Kenya Broadcasting to deliver your letter to a secretary. So young people say, no, you're Stefania, just give up. They want it easy when it is on WhatsApp, on Instagram, and on Twitter, and all that. So we just need to understand and what's also the management. Participation in voter processes. Again, I can't promise you that the Gen Z revolution that you see. I teach something called public opinion and voter behavior. And public opinion is not necessarily the voter behavior. The public opinion is measured every day. That's why you see Sinovate and all these guys keep on measuring public opinion. And they ask you, if elections were held today, whom will you vote for? They will not vote for the current regime when the current regime is trying to implement unpopular finance bill. It will be very unpopular, that particular regime at that particular time. Whom will you vote for when you are experiencing electricity rationing? Based on that, they will not vote for a government that cannot deliver electricity to their houses at that particular time. What about after 2 weeks when now there's no finance bill and everything is fine? The voter behavior is measured after every 5 years. So whatever that was influencing young people on around 25th of June, last year, 2024, when we had that Occupy Parliament thing, might not be the same thing that will influence them in 2027 when you go for an election. So that means that they might not be easily influenced, one, to become voters, because probably there's no serious thing that drives them today. And again, the problem with these things that are trending, when something is trending, they're very short-lived.
Sure.
Yeah, they don't go for a very long time. The frustration that people had when the Reject Finance Bill was there, it's not the same frustration they have today.
Yes.
That's what I'm telling you. They deal with what we need to deal with over all those things, from the Runga Revolution to the frustration that we have. It's a cost of living crisis. If you deal with that, it will be easy. But again, I told you, even if you reduce the cost of essential commodities and people don't have jobs, it's still not going to work.
Yeah, so I'm looking at that the same way, because if at all in 2027, the youth do not come out right now at the end of this month to register as voters and also participate in ensuring that their voices heard at the ballot, then that will not happen. Yeah, because we'll just be a vicious cycle, the same way we did in 2022, 2017.
Will we have a strong candidate for president, not just for member of parliament, not just for governors, strong candidate for president and a strong party that will be liked by young people? You know, remember when Barack Obama was running against McCain, for example. Barack Obama's candidature was structured in a young person's The looks were also good. And among things, the looks, when you have a good looks, maybe you get very many voters from the ladies, for example. And that youngness. So the Democrat and the young people, who were even Republicans, came out to vote for Barack Obama against the McCain who was brought by the Republicans. So who will inspire the young voters to even go and take a vote? Because they need that, because leadership is about inspiration. Do you inspire me? You get me right? So that person who is going to inspire them to make them go and take that vote and actually finish the process by participating. I don't see in the current crop of presidential candidates or political parties that exist therein that will inspire the Gen Zs. Yes, because whoever are able to be up there are the long-serving privilege and the class that has been there forever. They can raise, because, for example, currently, if you study about elections in Kenya, try for you to go to, you come from Bere or?
I come from Embu.
Come from Embu.
Yeah.
If you go to become chairman of your family association,
yes,
you need to have some money. You get me right? The chairman. So MCA, there are parts in this country where to become an MCA, you need at least a fund of around 50 million. You get me right? For you to become a president, I think they're measuring it to the tune of 50 billion. Because we have a circle where presidential candidates have to campaign for a period of 4 or 3 years. Because we just go for elections, and after elections, like for example, since we had an impeachment of former Deputy President Gachagua, he's been on a campaign trail, which is very expensive. How many people who've not been in the system therein will be able to raise funds to be able to withstand every weekend campaigns? I'm sure not among the young people. And whoever the young people want is one of them. But they're not able to produce that particular one of them. Everybody has been rejected. When they say leaderless, partyless, you see, they really believed in that. And with that type of thinking, are they really going to take votes to go and vote for a leaderless, partyless, all this less system? Not going to be possible. So unless something radical happens and we have a type of movement that we had in 2024 that will push the young people to probably either get inspired or get frustrated. Yeah, so that they vote for or they vote against, but either they get high level of frustration or high level of inspiration to participate in that process. But just naturally, the way it is that you go and participate, they still will say that, it will be what we election. See, they're like that.
All right. Diego, you have also participated in elections, and you know very well that the young people are always out there. They are the ones with the placards. They are the ones escorting these leaders. But when it comes to voting and also taking a vote, it becomes a big burden to them, but they participate. When it comes to violence, they are there. When it comes to, singing for these people, mobilizing, they are there. But the actual process itself of ensuring that we have the numbers, the youth numbers, is not there. How can we educate and ensure that our youths, now that the mass voter registration will be opened by the IEBC next week, I think next week but one, how can we prepare them in these few days remaining so that they take their voice, not only their vote?
I think IEBC needs to do a lot of voter education. And this is the time that they are supposed to come to media and then do a lot of voter registration. The government should also try to use their central government, where they are using people like chiefs, sub-chiefs, to address the same issue, of a voter registration. However, as the professor said, I think we couldn't have a voter party because of the issue. There is no influence. There is nothing influencing them enough to feel that they are supposed to be part of the government. There is no motivation. Why should I go and register? Because out there, they are saying we are jobless. Out there, they are saying nobody considers us in government. Probably we are not in government as we are supposed to be. So I think that narrative requires a lot of someone that can really influence them. And that's all about the leadership. If we cannot influence the young people in a way that they feel valuable into our nation, and genuinely from the heart of the government, bring them to chart the way forward. But then if the Gen Zs themselves say they are leaderless, they are partyless, they are worthless, as my senior here has said, I think they might not be brought to table. Because once you are leaderless, now whom will I discuss with to come up with a solution? It then becomes so hard for the government to really engage them. You cannot engage a leaderless team unless they can have one or two people. They are not calling them chairman or anything, but to come and negotiate. What exactly do you need? Where can we intervene as a government? But as I said earlier, Ben, is that Gen Zs have a role to play in this nation. As Kenyans, I encourage them to go and take a vote. Let them vote for whoever they feel can help the nation. But it's not good when they are left out in terms of the voting.
Picking from where Diego has left, and he has brought up a very interesting view, because in as much as we have seen, you have also participated in elections, and you know very well that the youth are always on the front line. But unfortunately, from the numbers that we have and what we have seen is that the numbers themselves are just the appearance numbers, not the numbers at the ballot. But now they have the golden opportunity. They talked about leaderless, tribeless, partyless last year, and they really want to keep it that way, because that they haven't changed. We haven't had now, I'm the Gen Z president, I'm the Gen Z this. But this time round, they can't be able to do that. And especially when the voter registration begins, the mass voter registration begins, as we prepare for the by-elections, that we expect to see a voice of the youth.
I would say this. Kenya is a country which is ruled by the rule of law. So we saw what the Gen Zs did last year and this year. And what I would say is, now that Kenya is ruled by the rule of law, for you to remove or change a certain leader, you have to wait for a certain period. You have to go through the democratic process of voting and all that. The young people, if they want to bring change in this country, be it at the ward level, governor or presidential level, they have to get that vote. What happens after they get that vote is another story altogether. Because if you look at 2022 figures, we had 22 million registered voters. It's only 14 million, which is about 63–64% of the population that turned out to vote. Why was there an apathy? An apathy was equally contributed, as my colleague said, mostly by the young people. If you look at the voting pattern that happened in 2022, the 14 million people, you found that a young person, the young people are there trying to participate in the political party, politics and all that. But you find that most of the big chunk of the young people are queuing, getting the 200 shillings. They're being given by politicians. So the young people, if they want to succeed in bringing change in this country, they have to allow themselves not to be used by politicians to achieve their agendas. Why am I saying that? The youth of this country needs to take advantage of their numbers. They need to leverage on the technology they have. You see them doing content creation. You see them on Instagram. You see them on all social platforms. Why don't they take advantage of that and take it to their advantage and call out the leaders they don't want and use all those avenues to bring a campaign against corruption, bad governance, and all these kind of things. That's how they are going to, at the end of the day, just like they did on 25th June, to bring a change in one way or the other. So I would ask them to leverage on technology to be able now to bring the change they will have. And also, as we have said, they need to take the vote and make sure they vote on that day. Because when you're a young person and it's voting day and you say, me, I need to open my business today. Me, I need to go to work
or
today.
you be at the crowd.
Yeah, or people,
you be with Mweshimiwa. And,
exactly, and you're cheering and you forget to go and vote. If you remember, to give you an example of last elections, people went with the former Prime Minister, the guys in Kibera, following him to go and vote. They forgot even themselves. They said some of them forgot to go and vote. And now when they complained in Kibera some votes went this and that way, they had no control because they forgot to do the humble, the noble duty of dropping that vote. Another thing that IBC needs to do is a lot of civic education. Civic education in which way? Both the learned and the unlearned. They need to unlearn and learn. Because when you go to the village, an old lady will say, I don't like this man. Make sure I go to the ballot and remove him. So what does she do? She goes to the ballot box and does X.
Cancels that.
And he cancels on the name of this guy. What has he done? What has she done?
She has voted for that person.
The young person also who doesn't know that the same concept, he will do the same mistakes. So IBC needs to do, when we are doing this voter registration, there is a lot of civic education that needs to be done. As I finish, IBC needs to step up on leadership and integrity. Let IBC give us the right leaders, people with good integrity, who are not corrupt, people with the right qualification papers and all that. The qualities of even MCAs we are getting at the counties sometimes are pathetic because we saw even what happened the other day in Kericho and in the Senate and all that. So we need to get the right people with the right papers because Troy, if I come and tell you I have this and that paper, yet I cannot even communicate in English or Swahili, I mean,
becomes difficult. Yes.
A quick one.
Yeah.
I think I've told you that these guys are operating in WhatsApp and Instagram. These guys are not going to register. Yes. If it is physical, they will not participate. They won't register. They don't do physical stuff.
No.
They will
you know why I
IBC,
think they're going to do that?
If the
because
if IBC can change their structure to allow online registration of voter cards, and again, you've been here, I know in 2027, 50% Troy will be in that seat. Because of stability, because of age and generation, because what we do. In 2027, I will vote. I will vote myself in Siaya County, where I voted for twice. I know, I'm sure. The young people who are in Muranga University, who are my cousins, who are in Karatina University and Pwani University, might be able to register there. Where will they be in 2027? Somewhere else. So that migration also, because they keep on migrating in search of jobs, in search of everything. So the IBC must be able, if they really want people to participate in this, change some structures. And changing structures are developing legal frameworks for be able to do these things. For the young people to participate, that number almost 50, we're looking at almost 10 million people who have not registered, who are young. But can we, any project that you do, make sure that it is stakeholder friendly. For example, you can register in Muranga and go and vote in Siaya.
Yeah.
You can
but you know very well, Omondi, that those amendments, by now, the time frame is not there.
Then if you say the time frame is not there, then rule them out. Let's discuss other things.
They will. The reason I'm saying that they will is because last year they have come out in really big numbers. When it comes to matters governance, when it comes to matters integrity, we have seen them on the forefront to mention, to call out these leaders.
So
this is, again,
we were discussing IBC, a new IBC, and we and you discussed how can we help this IBC deliver, because 3, 4, 5 IBCs have not delivered and have been hounded out of office. For example, Isaka San's IBC was hounded out of office, chased. Chebukati died here. People were celebrating that he should die again. This was in the media. This was in public service.
Yeah, but it wasn't in mainstream.
No, don't say it. No mainstream. Anyway, the other IBC that was there before Chebukati, which one was it?
Actually, when we begin with Kivuitu, we had Isaka San. We also had the Chebukati. All of them have been hounded out
of office unceremoniously,
especially when it comes to the commissioners.
Yes, because they are not developing structures and systems that are required in the contemporary issue. The paperwork they are using, the structure that they're using the Chisoni structure, which is traditional, which is not applicable today. I hope today we are discussing the young people and voter registration. And I've told you, if you don't register people online, they won't participate. If you don't allow online voting, they won't participate. This guy exists online.
Because I believe we don't have time to do all these amendments.
What IBC needs to do is to return the faith, the faith that the population should have faith in IBC. What he's saying is IBC should step up and try to bring all these challenges that we have had, we have not had voter registration for the last 3-4 years now, since 2022. We have not had voter registration. So we need to appreciate IBC needs to do something, and urgently, as he is saying, we need to make sure that the people appreciate IBC. When they see IBC, they see a credible, transparent IBC.
Bosco mentioned about trust deficit in IBC. I totally concur, because when we look at the Chesoni, we had the Kivuito, the Isaac, the Chebukati, all these commissions have been dogged by one thing or the other.
Poor perception.
Yes, poor perception. And now we're also looking at leadership integrity. We have seen the young people come out and talk about, this is what we want.
Yeah.
And this is the by-elections that we have next month. Could it be a litmus test for the youth?
It will be. However, as both my colleagues have said, I think every Kenyan's perception on IMBC is that they cannot deliver. What we are calling trustworthy, I mean, they cannot deliver to the expectations that people will feel. There was injustice, and they have to work hard to redeem that image. Unless that image is redeemed, then we shall have always a few chaos court cases after every election. And Ben, trust you me, I think IMBC, if there is a time that they will have to create an image for Kenyans, is through what you are calling re-elections, that they are coming. They are coming by elections, sorry. If these by-elections, people will not see transparency, the campaigns will change. Going forward, there will be campaigns of hatred, which is not good for our nation. And so I hope and wish that the IMBC is able to really change the perception of Kenyans and do what is necessary and what people will think from inside them that justice has been done.
Yeah. Bosco, I'm looking at the next month's election.
Yes.
In as much as the litmus test to maybe the Damascus moment I always talk about, is this the best opportunity for the youth to just show their numbers as well? And also front their candidate?
Definitely. Definitely. This is the Damascus, another Damascus moment, if there is. Because you cannot be supporting a party or a government or an opposition leader or something, but you're just down there, you don't participate. What I'm saying is the young people need to participate from themselves for candidature in these by-elections. We know by-elections mostly have some voter apathy. And we want to, if the young people really mean what they say, they need to practice it by coming out and vote in large numbers. And whatever you're talking about, the litmus test, let's see whether what they have been propagating, or rather they have been pushing, they are able to do action it. And that is a reflection of what we will have in 2022. So the young people need to step up during the by-elections and be able to... There's something else I wanted to mention about IBC. IBC and the young people. Because young people sometimes, doors are closed for them because of financing. IBC needs to tie the knot of campaign financing. Where are these funds coming from? Because you will see a young person following a political party. Genuinely, he has done all he could, used the social media, he has been all the campaigns and all that. At the end of the day, when he becomes a candidate, the candidature is given to the person with the money. So someone buys this ticket.
There is something that I want to echo what Professor said, that if one of the areas that we need to motivate the Gen Zs to register votes and also to vote is by using technology. If IMBC is not going to use high level of technology, such that you are able to vote wherever you are in Kenya. You don't have to appear in your voting station where you registered. Because some of these guys, probably they're in Nairobi staying with their relatives, and around that time, they would even not afford fare to Sharks, So the technology, between now and the 2027, IMBC should look at the technology on how can people register as voters on your phone or even on your laptop. How can the same voting be done? Okay, of course you can do it physically, but at any polling station.
Vice chair
totally.
The vice chair of the
From where you are
is 32 years.
Let me ask.
So
because
we hope.
The vice chair is 32 years. So she should be able to inject this idea.
young blood
because
and
when we
ideas.
say involving young people, we've tried to make a vice chair of IBC a 32-year-old. That means that she's a young person. So we need to be able to know that the outcomes of that institution has that youngness in it. And it thinks like a young person, and she's supposed to be able to play that. Secondly, she is not male again. She's female. So we need also the gender parity, the gender thing that we're struggling with. To be injected by the same person who is doing, so that women get a better chance, because you know our parliament is illegal, and most of our county assemblies are illegal because they don't have the 2/3 gender rule in all those assemblies.
And not only 2/3 gender rule, the inclusion of people, persons with disabilities, you know, and also integrity.
Yes, and also integrity. You see, so IBC has a big work to do, but again, it's not about the referee. It's about the players too. If the players are indisciplined, no matter how the referee will try, even if you bring VAR, they will still just fight.
There's something, Diego, that you mentioned in regards to, and especially when you talk about technology, because it's a very good thing that you've pointed out, and also Oscar also mentioned it, that there's a student in Karatina University from the coast. In the next 2 years, maybe atakuwa na hustle huko home, you know, because in 2002 it was the first time that I voted, and I was a student at the Technical University, then Kenya Poly. And I remember how we organized ourselves tea room, you know, with the Nissan vehicles all the way to Embu and Ronyenjes, where we were voting. I think that more or less, if we had built on that, the younger generations who are there now could have been in a far much better place.
Sure. I think as you're saying, it is a fact that the Gen Zs may actually not vote, majority of them, if the government is not going to consider technology as part of the voting formula. Then number two, they are compromised, highly compromised. As my brother here said, the 200, the 100, and the 500. If someone pays you a fare to go and vote, will you vote for someone that you think can develop you or can develop our nation? So the politicians take advantage. That some people are somewhere, they do not have money to go home to vote. You send them money. So whoever sends money, then they will go and vote for them.
Not even the politicians.
Let me give you an example. Gentlemen, just a minute. I'm informed we need to cross over to Ronyu in Mikindani. It's Runyu. Grey water generated that is used for irrigation and domestic work. There is Sinikinesh Beyeni Jima, who is the Chief Marine and Coastal Ecosystem Unit, UNEP, talking about that. Regina is currently in Mikindani. We will be crossing over with that in regards to having a check on what is happening when we come back after these short messages. We'll be crossing over to the coast, and of course we will be back with this conversation after this commercial break.
Na leo inaonekana umechangamka.
Na pia nimefurahi.
Unajua nilikununulia nini jana?
We, Cindy.
Dadi umeiba.
Ujalipa?
Yo pesa. Masajili atakulipa.
Can someone please explain to me what is going on here?
Pesa zetu bwana, jambo mengi.
Hi Josh.
Di mrembo kawe afai onekane akingangana na mtungi hapa village.
Miss can't complain.
Auogopi Mungu, auogopi shetani. Hata nadhani ujiogopi wewe. Nani kama wewe pastor?
Sio mambo tulimaliza mwana. Ni nini mbaya na wewe? Nimeshaongea na wewe mzika. Haezi hata kufungua mdomo yake.
Welcome to the FIFA World Cup 26.
Kenya's stars on the football pitch continues to shine brighter. The dedication, the self-belief and enthusiasm across the board is visionary. Join us for the FIFA World Cup 2026 African qualifiers, Group F, from Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani. Live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. Your true sports partner.
Kenya lead, building up to half-time.
express yourself any place to
Buy the new Be Lifetime bundle. Dial *544#.
They say the art without art would just be, get it? We circumnavigate the globe and traverse the local scene to bring you art and culture at their very best. From fine art, culinary art, performing arts, and even cultural events, you name it, and we have got you covered. My name is Kevin Kisioki, and I will be serving you this and much, much more each and every Friday at 8 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
Greetings in the name of the Most High, Jah Rastafari. My good name is Marley Moses, the positive warrior, alongside...
Yes, sir, DJ D-Rage, the baddest. Each and every Wednesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 TV.
Tunakuletea the biggest reggae party in 254 in a yard extra. Extra niceness of reggae music.
Extra dose of entertainment.
When the thing is nice, we have
to do it twice.
Welcome back to KBC News Check. We are on the tail end of this first hour. We are looking at the state of governance and politics in the country and a number of things. We have been looking at the mass voter registration. We've also touched a bit on the president's 3-year journey as the head of state and the Kenya Kwanza administration. And three gentlemen here, beginning from my immediate left, just to reintroduce them very fast. Bosco Kiora, who is a policy and governance expert. Diego Ngoge Wilson, who is a political analyst and also governance expert, and just next to him we have Oscar Omondi, who is a political analyst and also a university don. Before we crossed over for that break, Diego, I remember we were looking at what we are expecting in the next one and a half months or 2 months, next month, when we have the by-elections. And in as much as we are looking at them being a Damascus moment for the youth, we should see something in these elections. About 26 MP, 1 senator, and civic seats. We have seen how politicians are aligning themselves. The opposition are talking about they really need to craft one united voice that they are going to present in next month's election. We also have seen the government, because UDA will not be fielding a candidate in Kasipul and Ugunja. The same thing, ODM will not be fielding any candidates in Mbeere North, which we are keeping tabs on. We will be fielding some of the candidates. These political realignments, just we have talked about, we really need a shift in politics. But this is the same thing that we've seen 5, 10, 20 years ago, where the politicians gang up and we front this, but where are the voice of the youth?
I really wonder, Ben, whether there will be opposition by the time we get to 2027. You'll be surprised Kalonzo joining Ruto. You'll also be surprised either the former deputy president coming back to the government. But those are rumors. Those are my own opinions. But going forward for the especially the elections, I think, as we said earlier, it's a litmus test for the IMBC. And we will also have a test to see the turn-up, especially for Gen Zs. And we will also get to know, especially Mbeere, we will also get to know the muscles between the former CS, Muturi
and KK. But just hold the thought, because actually that will be one of the most contested places. But let's first of all cross over to Regina Manyara, who is in Mikindani, Ronyo, in Mikindani, where she is hosting Sikinesh Beyeni Juma, Chief Marine and Coastal Ecosystem Unit Officer at UNEP, in regards to grey water. Let's know more about what this grey water is all about.
Well, that is very well put, Benja and Troy. Yes, we are in Ronyo Mikindani, which is in the coastal region. And this is one of the sites for the Go Blue projects. And to give us an executive summary of what the project really means when it comes to social economic development of this particular community is none other than Madam Jima of UNEP. Give us an executive summary. We understand that these particular projects are going to be replicated across at least 5 counties. The import of this, especially to the communities.
Thank you so much. I highly appreciate all the media and communication team here to document our work. I am from UNEP, as it is already mentioned in the introduction. Go Blue project has multiple integrated programs and initiatives across the 6 counties of Kenya. This now we are at the Mikindani site. This is a wastewater treatment for the social, economic, and environmental problems of the community living here. So the main project here is collecting all the waste, household settlement waste, and treating it in a very nature-based solution, locally made by the Kenyan Research and Fisheries. This is one of the best examples we learned from the National Shimaletewa prison, and we are scaling up the best practices to here. It's very cost-effective and community-based work that it helps the community to collect the water. One is the social benefit is health, about having a clean environment for the people. The second one is using the clean water for agriculture. As you see in the neighborhood, we have different community. We have maize, we have bananas and vegetables from the community. It is changing economically the community, especially women household. You have seen a woman with her children over here managing her vegetable farm. So enabling us an alternative livelihood for the community by treating the wastewater from the neighborhood, socially cleaning the environment and good health. And the third one is environmentally, we are conserving the ecosystem, especially the wetland around here. So this is not the only work that we do. Go Blue is a coastal resilience project that we are supporting with the funding support of EU. UNEP and the UN Habitat are working on the integrated land sea planning, coastal resilience through marine special planning, county special planning. Among that, wastewater treatment, waste management, and also mangrove and coastal ecosystem resilience building through conservation, restoration, and sustainable use, but also supporting the community to build their coastal, their livelihood, which brings this coastal resilience for our community vulnerable to climate change.
Right. Could you tell us the impact that it has, particularly on the mangrove, because I understand it extends all the way to the mangrove, the impact that it has mostly on the environmental conservation?
Yeah, as you're going to see in detail, we were since morning we're here. You're going to see all the wastewater. The wastewater are chemicals, household waste that are really destroying the coastal ecosystem. Mangroves and other coastal ecosystem are very sensitive to the waste coming from small industry, from neighborhood of people settlement. So this special plant is doing a nature-based solution through using sand and a different gravity flow of water. We are retreating the water that goes and kills mangroves and other ecosystem. So it is very important that we are conserving the coastal ecosystem like mangrove, which are very important adaptation tools to control the coastal erosion and sometimes also related cyclones and other flooding related matters. So it's a natural breakage or a natural wall that can protect the community, coastal community from different disasters that are caused by climate change impacts. So it's very important we are conserving mangrove, but also the mangroves are also a carbon sequestrating. So we are working in Lamu and other area, which we're going to bring it to this Mombasa region in carbon credits, which is conserving the mangrove, selling the carbon credits and bringing that resource to the national and the community revenue, changing the livelihood of the community, which is coastal resilience again.
Which counties are you targeting as of now?
That has been Sikinesh Beyen, who is the Chief Marine and Coast Ecosystem Unit Department of UNEP. They're talking about the recycling of water, the grey water recycling in Ronyo Mikindani. Reminds me of the good work that they're doing in regards to the recycled water being used for conservation and mangrove. The Swahili say, hata maji chafu zima moto. Now the dirty water is actually helping them to recycle and also help in conservation, and especially for mangroves. But because of the interest of time, gentlemen, my director informs me out of time, but I'm going to give you to just a minute or so to just wrap up on what we have been talking about in regards to news check.
One thing that I will say about what I thought we will also partly discuss about the e-procurement that is going on in government. That's the debate around the e-procurement.
Yeah.
That one, I think that accountability. We need to know who is buying what for government and at what price and who is providing it. And I think all these processes have teething issues. And we had teething issues when we discussed with you all these things when they have teething issues. SHA, for example, I told you it's going to work. I mean, and all these changes always must face a resistance. But I think it's something on the right order. And number three, it should not be meant to deal with counties because we are in a devolved system. We don't need to centralize so much. But we also need, again, to make the users be able to use that thing. Otherwise, issues to do with the other one that we thought that is also going, the issue to do with demonstrations and compensation issue. Yeah. I mean, you see, for that thing to happen, it's a big process. I think I am a conflict resolution practitioner. And whatever we are getting into is not very easy because the processes are just the same. It needs, one, we identify where was the problem. We need, number two, acknowledgement.
Yes.
The people who perpetrated these crimes need to be able to acknowledge. Why do we promise them acknowledge them? Why do we ask them to acknowledge? We need to accept in exchange of something called amnesty.
Okay.
So that you don't get prosecuted, for example. I came, shot your son, maimed your son, I'm sorry. So it is a process that you can push into the people. But the way it has been done, because we also have something in the shelves, you know, Bethel Kiplagat did the Truth, Justice and Reconciliation between 1963 and 2008. And these are resting in the shelves. So that one is a problem. Again, whatever has happened between 2008 to the Gen Z, but this one was particularly on whatever the pressure of whatever happened last year. Yeah, but again, it raises a lot of things. But stopping it, again, completely might not be able to help because the people are continuing suffering. There are people who have hospital bills as we work. There are people who've gone poor simply because they lost their breadwinners in that problem.
Okay.
So we need acknowledgement, and apart from acknowledgement, we need a good structure that involves everybody. Otherwise, sometimes when people use the courts in this country to stop everything, it doesn't help because stopping it by courts, it doesn't completely help anything.
All right. Some argue that, of course, we also need justice as well to accompany the compensation package. Diego?
Yeah, Ben, I think in Kenya, if I go the political way, we need a gender-based politics, not just a rhetoric kind of politics. Let people know what you are coming to do. And I think at the moment, the government is going on the right direction. If they can only engage as many people as possible to try and get to know where exactly can they improve. But at the moment, I think they are on the right track. If you look at our economy, our inflation has really gone down. Our reserves in the central bank have gone up. As much as there are no jobs, okay, I think where we came from, the commodity prices and all that has really gone down. We have some work to do, but we should appreciate that work has been done. Infrastructure all over, loans are being done, and housing projects are being done. And we need to have more of engagements and have gender-based politics, where people are saying we are doing this, not just saying 1 term or 2 term. What are you coming to do different? Yeah, thank you.
My observation is very simple, that we need to be, as a government, the government needs to continue with what it has been doing previously on different projects. Our young people need to appreciate and leverage on technology in terms of voter registration, correcting the government on bad governance and these kind of things. We need to have our youths taking advantage of the opportunities that the government is bringing across. We appreciate what the government has done so far in terms of like for example in Nairobi, the stadiums, the market that the government is doing all over the country, all these projects. But one thing that is a pain in people in this country is corruption. The government needs to up its game on corruption, and let's be genuine and serious about the issues of corruption. and let the institutions that are supposed to take care of corruption be empowered. We have seen governors and other people who have been taken to EACC. Let the community not fight for them when they are prosecuted. If you did something wrong and it's on a paper trail, we can see, and let you be prosecuted, be taken to court. That is how we are going to change this country moving forward. IBC needs to bring back the glory of IBC as it, people would expect it in the Constitution, as it's, the laws of Kenya are enshrined in the Constitution. The public trust needs to come back. Voter registration needs to involve everyone, but key to everything in this government as we move forward is public participation. So if it's the young people,
let's involve each and everyone.
Let's go engage them in X. Let's engage them and hear what they want to say about their employment and all these other challenges and their voice in terms of policy making in this country. Thank you very much, Trey.
Thank you. That has been Bosco Kiura, who is a leadership and governance expert. Just next to him, we have Diego Ngoge Wilson, who is also a political and policy and governance expert. Just next to him, we have political analyst and University Don, Oscar Omondi there. We've been looking at the state of nation. We started with the e-procurement, which has been halted, and also the compensation panel, which has hit a snag at the court. But until that matter is heard and determined, then it has been halted for now. We have also looked at the mass voter registration that is expected to kick off in the next couple of days and also next month, where we will be looking at the by-elections of about 20 both national and civic seats. Thank you indeed so much for watching this first hour, but don't go away. We are also looking at matters devolving CBE and devolving education. What are some of the challenges surrounding everything, and now that we are transiting, what are some of the merits and demerits, and what are the bombs to avoid in that? We'll be looking at that with two. I have Esther Njeri Maina, who is already in studio, and Boaz Waruku from Elimu Yetu will be joining me now. But for now, let's first of all cross over to Parliament. This is a committee in regards to PAC meets the State Department for Broadcasting.
Ratios, they are the benchmarks. We may be far from the standards, but we are progressively working towards that, subject to the resourcing, as you have been supporting this cause. So we will also share the challenges, as you've rightly guided, and offer the solutions that as a commission we have considered as one unit, and the strategies that we have put in place to ensure that there's adequate synergy, that there's adequate collegiality on account of the fact that we have shared mandates.
Why is it that, considering that at some stage the media may not be there?
Yes.
So you had mentioned about the 10,000 constable.
Yes.
Are we not considering or taking in any cadets?
We will come to that. I'm picking it at general level. The budget that was approved was for 10,000 headcount. The formation, those are details that will come, allow that it comes in the subsequent presentations. But suffice to say, from a perspective of the National Police Service Commission, policy of mainstreaming
In 1938, Joshua Mulanda Angatia joined elective politics in 1979 when he clinched the Lurambi North parliamentary seat. The constituency later birthed Malava and Lugari constituencies. Before his appointment to cabinet, he had a long-standing career as a teacher, rising to the position of principal of Nairobi Upper Hill School. In 1992, Angatia won the Malava parliamentary seat on a KANU ticket, after which President Daniel Moi appointed him as the Minister for Health. Shortly after his appointment as minister, Angatia claimed mafia cartels at Afya House had put roadblocks that were hindering his work. Angatia faced a number of challenges, including having to deal with one of the longest doctor strike in the country. In the strike, the medics challenged the government by demanding their rights, including the right to form a trade union of their own. President Moi responded by threatening that the government would import doctors from India and other countries to replace the Kenyan medics. Some medics even fled to neighboring countries, while others left government service for private practice. After the push and pull, the doctors resumed work, and later the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union was registered. Angatia was also entangled in the Pearl Omega affair. Pearl Omega was a herbal-based medicine developed by Professor Arthur Obel and was a supposed cure for HIV and AIDS. Angatia denounced the drug a week later, claiming Professor Obel had not followed medical ethics and had bent the rules of medicine to suit his quest. Angatia was later transferred to the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. He lost his parliamentary seat just before the 1997 elections to his 1992 opponent Nathan Anaswa, who had successfully challenged Angatia's win in the 1992 polls, and a by-election was held. Anaswa dethroned Angatia, clinching the Malava seat, triggering Angatia's retirement from politics. He died in 2004, aged 66 years. For the cabinet, I'm Ben Troy Njue.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Welcome back to News Check. Many thanks indeed for keeping us company on the second hour. As I had mentioned earlier on, we'll be looking at the CBE. We started with CBC, now we have CBE and devolving education, the challenges that we have been seeing and what could be the way forward. Allow me, because of the interest of time, to just rope in my panel of experts. Just next to me, we have Esther Njeri Maina, who is an educationist and are specialized in the ECDE curriculum. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
Just next to her, we have Boaz Waruku from Elimu Bora. Karibu sana.
Sio Bora Elimu.
Sio Bora Elimu. Bora Elimu. Elimu Bora. Sio Bora Elimu. And very quickly, because of the interest of time, beginning with you, we've talked about Elimu Bora.
Yes.
That is a trust that you work for.
Yes.
And you've added Sio Bora Elimu.
Sio Bora Elimu.
Maybe you could help us decipher that, because we are having a number of challenges in the education sector.
Thank you. Very interesting intro. I wasn't expecting to come from that end. Yeah. But given that that would be of interest to us,
yes.
The reason why we talk about Elimu Bora, any good quality education, and not Bora Elimu, and that is anything can go,
yes,
is because as a country in the 21st century, we realize that all that have been done in the past, including declarations about free primary education, and then the anchorage of the rights within the Constitution, Article 43, Article 53 on the right of every child to free and compulsory basic education. We realize that there could be a situation where we are just having our children going to school, coming back, going to school, coming back, and the years rolling. By the end of it all, these children haven't learned a thing. And indeed, we also looked at some research in the past about done by Uwezo, if you can remember, which actually tried to help us understand, are our children learning? That is where the issue of, is it that we are not doing something right? Are we just not having just people going to school and coming out, and they are coming out with nothing? So our cementing of Elimu Bora came across as at a time when the president set up the Munavu Working Party, the Presidential Working Party on Education Reform. And he said there exists an opportunity to boresha, in Kiswahili, to improve or to make education better. And we said, as Elimu Bora, comprising of several agencies, including the Kenya Human Rights Commission, agencies that have worked in the constitution making, youth agenda, the students from the universities and colleges, including their lecturers through the WASUs and several other bodies in Fawe Kenya, for instance. We said, can all these agencies bring their minds together? And we start seeing what value can we add by making sure that the outcome of this Munavu process would be an outcome that we can be proud of and we can embrace and even oversee and help on the implementation. That is where then the Elimu Bora formation did emerge. And we looked at the 3 quality parameters to make it Elimu Bora. We said, 1, there must be a quality teacher. And that quality teacher should be motivated, not just a quality teacher, well-trained, continuing to develop them, but then they are completely demotivated, including the CBA agreements not being honored, things like that. Then the second one is that the curriculum and the teaching methodology, the teaching materials must also be of quality. And then the third one, definitely the quality learning environment. So all that packed together, that's what we are calling then Elimu Bora. And indeed, we have said that we use it from an angle we call the holistic schooling model, in a way that anywhere in this country, within, across the country, whether in the farthest end from Nairobi or the closest, like even within Nairobi, you have the slums, where there are certain areas which do not even have public education. So we are saying, whatever it is, there should be a holistic education system that when we talk of a school, it should be a standard school. A standard school that qualifies under the 3 parameters I mentioned. And from there, we have been doing research, we've been doing policy analysis, we've been strategically engaging with the policy makers, oversighters, and even the real persons who suffer when the education is not right, like the students themselves, just to ensure that education is delivered in a way that would bring meaning to their lives, that their years in school is not wasted, that the value system is right, the character developed is right, the knowledge acquisition is right, the skills and their talents developed is right. That to me is, in a summary, a holistic package, a holistic education.
Very good. Thank you so much, Boaz, for actually breaking it down.
Thank you.
And apologies for busting like that.
It's okay. Thank you for giving me the chance.
It's a good thing that you've laid the groundwork for us. Esther, I'm looking at what exactly Boaz has mentioned, and indeed from a presidential working group to coming up with something that we can be proud of in the education sector. One time we were very proud of is actually from 844 to the CBC first, because one, it was hailed as one of the most progressive curriculums, such that it will include all the holistic, just as Boaz has mentioned, the holistic aspect of a child. But we are looking at the integration. We are having a lot of teething challenges. As an educationist, how can we eradicate some of these challenges that we are having? Because education is something progressive. We cannot stop like e-procurement now and decide for the next 6 months we will start using the e-procurement. But when it comes to education, it's an everyday affair.
Thank you very much for the chance again. I would love to say, just as Boaz has said, when we talk about education and educating learners, we don't just look at the learner on giving them knowledge, but we want to bring up a holistic person who will fit in any place in the society, someone who is integral, someone who has values, someone with the right attitude towards everything. And as you're saying, when we moved from the 844, majority of us, myself, an 844 product, and we went to school to pass exams. But here the CBC curriculum came in. And I want to thank the government because they realized they were working with a curriculum which is just a plan. And now they are moving us from the plan to the education. And the education is a process. But again, if we look at the teething problems, I would say that maybe we did not intentionally embark on this journey because we have a shortage when it comes to resources. And I'll talk about the beginning of this year, when now we started rationalizing again. We had to merge some of the learning areas. We did not have books. The learners went up to around June, July there. May, June, that's when they got the books. That is a shortfall. When we look at the teachers, a majority of the teachers still have the mentality of the 844. So what would I say? The teachers are not fully empowered on how to implement this new curriculum. So maybe the government, what they can come up with is the intentionality, a plan that is working. And they have it with timelines. not putting many things at a go, and they want to roll them out together. So for me, it is the planning that is a problem, and the intentionality, because the idea is very good. A holistic child, someone who is going to be, you know, and if you look at the competencies, the 7 competencies that they are implementing, they are very good, but our shortage is on the planning.
Yes. Boaz, you can totally identify with what Esther is talking about, and the biggest challenge, I believe, because all of us here know about the 844 system,
yes,
and we are looking at the 844 to the transition of the to the CBE now, and it has been a challenge.
Yes.
And totally concur with Esther that it has brought up some of the interesting things in life, because if I did the CBC, I'm quite sure I will be doing something different, because I was very active in games, sports, music, drama, you know. But
you'll be Lionel Messi somewhere.
I'll be a Lionel Messi, maybe. Yeah, but the transition has faced a number of hiccups. Maybe you can tell us, after working for Elimu Bora, for years, how can we circumvent these transition hiccups?
Thank you. I start from where Esther's left, and Esther was very clear in terms of the designers of the new curriculum and transitioning into this new system, because the curriculum was designed and then we are transitioning into a new education system altogether. And the fact that we are parading it alongside 844, I want us to take a step back and look at how did then the 844 come about. And you look at the McKay Commission and what was McKay trying to do. McKay was put in place by Daniel Toroi Ticharap Moi after he had toured particularly the Asian tigers. And he said, how come technology is driving so many things? How come the children and the learning that is taking place is so practical? And the team that he had there touring on those areas, then he came and said, now we do not want, we want a situation where we want to evolve first a system or a new university that would help us inculcate these technical skills, you know, practical-oriented learning, and linking that with the industry, the society, trying to help us address the challenges of the 21st century, which were now facing us head-on. When that happened, and Munavu was given that, McKay, Professor McKay, was given that responsibility, he was told, can you explore for us the option of having a second university in Kenya? Because the Moi and their team, they are saying the university would be the breeding ground for all this kind of thinking. But McKay came back and said, no, yes, we'll have this university. We want to model it in a way that it would be the one that would be helping us drive technology. It would be the one that would re-engineer even the courses that we are having, agriculture and so many components of it. But to start it, we need a basic education system that would feed it, not the one that was there in place. The one that was there in place, if I'm to use the years, it was starting at the 7 years of primary, the 4 years of secondary, the 2 years of A-level or advanced, which was called higher classes, and then the university 3 years. He said, no, that one would not give us the kind of students that the Moi University would be expecting to have. And indeed, we need to train also teachers that would come and support that the system that we are talking about. That is how 844 came about. They wanted a holistic kind of learning at the time, very practical at the time, value laden also at the time, but more practical in terms of helping us to be more you'd say, a learner or a student who emerges from that system who is very comfortable in the environment they are. They can exploit it sustainably to enrich or to benefit from it. But also, practically, their relationships in terms of social skills would also be enhanced. And indeed, if you do remember, there are practical subjects that were placed there. But the challenge is that I'm linking it from there to where we are, so that Kenyans do not forget about where we've come from. What happened is that we did not plan very well. Esther has mentioned the planning component. What also happened is that we did not dedicate resources adequately. The resources, first, the art and craft, music, and all that, they found out that the tools that would be required for the workshops, very expensive. Where they are being produced, some of them they still wanted to import. Music equipment, for instance, importation, and just importing those things, the pianos and all, it would be very expensive. And indeed, that's why they started downsizing and removing some of those. So bring it forward to where we are at CBE and CBC. And the challenges, I don't have to restate them again. If then we do not address what made us to remove all the practical elements of the 844 and remain with only theoretical and exam-oriented frame. If we do not want to get back there, then we must deal with those challenges. We must ensure that, one, we are developing teachers who can handle this curriculum. Because the teachers that we have are 844 teachers. So we must emphasize on the development of these teachers and recruiting them in adequate numbers. But we must also ensure that we develop the infrastructure necessary for developing this kind of learners. Because if we do not, then basically that's why we will find a teacher, as we witness now in JSS transition, a teacher taught or trained to go and teach business studies and CRE, being told to deal with pre-technology courses and science courses and all that. We are at variance on the delivery. So for us not to fall back, because I think that's the question, the main question you asked, for us not to fall back, can we ensure that the planning is comprehensive and every educational need at whatever level, if it is at pre-primary, we start from there, PP1, PP2, we want the learners or the children there first even to have the playground where they find themselves enjoying the learning, and because for them learning is a play. And that is how then they are able to capture the basic concepts from that early stage. Social skills, how they share things and all that. They need that space. And I think when one mentions that, your mind should run to the informal settlements where we are having up-bed schools, where there's actually no space. It should be running to the Mabatini ward in Mathare and Ngei ward in Mathare, where there's no single public school. You should then be saying then the government, for us also, because CBE is for all children. For it to be delivered to all those children, we must ensure that then they also have what qualifies as a school. And I started at PP1, PP2, meaning that the space for these children to play and to learn in a less stressed environment, not caged within those, they call them the Mabati structures, or those small containers. That would not help us deliver. When they come to primary, the lower primary 1 to 3 and grade then 4 to 6, where they'll be doing KPSEA, they should also then be enabled to have the pre-KPSEA kind of knowledge and skills developed. Because KPSEA, you've seen how even the assessment is done. A lot of it is, the emphasis is on the practical nature of the learning. How are these children going through? And indeed, it is the learner-centered in a way that your assessment is based on the performance of every child there. But I want to take you to schools where a classroom has got 100 children. And you have a single teacher. You are expecting that teacher to identify this child's talent, their challenges in learning, and advise on how that can be improved.
Okay.
That's where we require more and more teachers. I just wanted to take examples to help us understand why then we should go there. And now, coming to the finances and the funding, for example, right now, have we...
Actually, allow me to restructure that.
Okay.
Still on the funding.
Okay.
Because we have talked about education being the equalizer.
Yes.
Since 2003, we have been having the free primary education.
Yes.
And I believe 22 years down the line, we should have built on that. I remember Chief Justice Martha Koome pointing out and saying that if we collapse all these bursaries, the president has bursaries, the governor has bursaries, the MPs, and even the wings to fly, all these, if they are put into one pot, not only would it make education affordable, but it could be an equalizer, because the same facilities I expect at Brookshine is the same facilities I will expect in Turkana.
What you're saying is true, and indeed, I think there's a space we had, was it here or one of the media houses, when we, after the analysis we had done, and said there should be a national education fund, where all these funds to ensure we are able to fund the needs of learners.
But I think the issue would be, Boaz, goodwill.
Yeah.
The goodwill.
No, it's the political goodwill. But I'm saying, that analysis, I'm just saying that analysis has been done.
Yes.
And even a template on the policy framework that would guide such a national fund.
Okay.
So that right now, because right now, let me tell you, all those funds you have created, you have talked about, those are public funds transferred through individuals who want to make political capital out of them. And that's why they resist so heavily. Because you see even the way we are now giving bursaries. It's like, it is my money, I'm giving you bursaries, you see. Okay. And I think the Auditor General report tells us how some of those bursaries, you see, you are completely not able even to account for them. But some, even the lists that are given are lists which are into schools that are not known. I think the media keep on talking about the ghost schools or something, yeah? In Kiswahili, I think they have a different terminology. But basically what you're saying, being accountable and transparent on the usage of the resources, starting with our finances.
Okay.
That would be very, very
just hold the thought in regards to that, because it's something that you also mentioned that we also need to look at, and especially when it comes to teacher training. Esther, you have both worked under CBC and also under 844. Sure. And you have noticed a big difference in regards to that, in terms of finances, in terms of teacher training, in terms of the curriculum as well. And I would like to pick your mind in regards to teacher training, how the government is doing now, because Boaz has pointed out that indeed, in as much as we have teachers who are teaching CBC, they are not quite suited to teach that because they didn't get that training.
Thank you so much once again. I'll take my mind back to myself. When I started teaching, I was a British trained teacher, British curriculum trained teacher.
Okay.
And if we go to these international schools, teachers there are trained to specialize. If I'm good in music, I'm going to teach music. If I'm good in sports, I'm going to teach sports. I worked once at Braeside schools, and you'll find as a teacher in class, the early years teacher, I'm there just to teach the numeracy and the language activities. Then when these children are going out for a different outdoor activity like swimming, sports, the music, the computers, they have a teacher who is specialized for that. Then again, let me bring my mind to the Kenyan schools, the 844, where I also taught for some time. For the 844 schools, we were just taught to teach everything. You teach everything, even if you don't have a passion for the games, you have to teach them. There's no way out. Now again, the same teachers that we were teaching in the 844, we are the same teachers who have transitioned to the CBE or the CBC. And here we are, learners are there, they need to be taught. What do you do as a teacher? You just find your way and teach.
Use what you have.
You find your way and teach. So if the government and now the stakeholders become intentionally and identify people who are specialized, specialization is the key thing. Specialization. In such a way, even these talents that the children have, we identify them and we build them up. Let me take my mind to my school where I'm teaching right now, Brookshine Schools. Yes, it's a big school. We have fields, we have everything, and we have everything. But now we bring in people who are specialized to teach these other things. The teacher will teach the normal the normal learning areas. But other things, we deal with specialization. I think that's where the government is again failing, because teachers are just exposed to teach anything.
And do we risk the situation where you'll find a student at Bookshine? Of course, we perform and we have better facilities, because when growing up, and even in the primary school I attended, and even till today, we don't even have a swimming pool.
Sure.
The laboratory is being constructed, and it's a school that I found there. It has been there for more than 50 years, but those facilities are not the same. And even if we take time, it's going to take a longer time than when we get into the private sector. How do we bridge this inequality gap?
Maybe I can come in on that, because you have put it point blank.
Yes.
There's a lot of inequality when it comes to delivery of CBE. And indeed, the private schools where Esther comes from find it easy. And why they find it easy is because they are more serious. The resources that are required, they took time to plan, and note that when JSS was being domiciled in primary school, they established the laboratories and the workshops that were required. They knew that, okay, for even the teaching or facilitation or instructions to be understood in there, they required teachers who had that orientation. And indeed, those who are already teaching and were not of that kind of specialization, they were given proper induction. That happened. In the public sector, we knew all these things, but waited until the last minute and started now. You know, you are gasping for breath. How many of the teachers have been inducted? 2 days exposure. That is not even induction proper. That you say, we have retooled them. And indeed, the minister and his team continue says, we have retooled all the teachers. But these are teachers, you cannot retool a teacher who's teaching the Kiswahili to come and teach pre-technology courses. You cannot. The same way they cannot come and start teaching music. An example we had was a case where a teacher, a literature in English teacher, who was telling us what we are doing is actually helping these learners to make notes on biology, biological sciences issues. And on maths, we are just looking at the examples. We do with them all the examples, but where now we are expected to give them the exercises so that we mark, because we ourselves were not socialized along that. We leave that aside. In other words, comprehensive learning is not taking place. So develop these teachers right from the training fields right now. I know that they are changing the curriculum, or they have changed the curriculum at the teacher training colleges. Hopefully at the universities, they are also being aligned, so that what is being, the curriculum being used and the structure of the training would bring on board the competency-based education approach. We hope that with that, we'll be able now to start getting those teachers who have been suited to teach. But in the meantime, how do we cope? The coping mechanism right now is very, very critical, because almost a bunch of 8 classes, 9 classes now, might actually be wasted because they have not been exposed to the right material in the right time. You've been told, I think Esther mentioned about the subject rationalization, which is still continuing even up to now. In other words, it's not yet set. Many parts are still moving. The other thing is that they have not been exposed to the right teachers who are able to treat them with the right material, the right pedagogy, you know, the kind of approaches that would enable them to imbibe that knowledge and the skills so that they become the package that we expect to see at the end of that training or teaching cycle. And for us, I think we are saying, okay, yes, we need to be a little bit in a hurry now. Why? Because the government decided to implement CBC in a rush. So if you are implementing it in a rush, then we must try to catch up. We must try and bring the teachers adequate in number. I think the 76,000, the government keeps on saying, and all that is a drop in the ocean, particularly when they are also not skilled on the specialized areas. We also require now to expand the infrastructure, because a number of students are joining the schools And we must also, I think, as we are looking at the infrastructure, I'm talking about the classrooms, I'm talking about the laboratories, I'm talking about the workshops and the playground, the sports, because there's the art and sports science. Where will this be done? They're supposed to be done in facilities that are conducive. We need to invest in that. And where I was trying to reach to, and you said we freeze it,
yes,
on the finances.
Yes.
That this is the time that we should not be hearing that the ministry is sending money to ghost schools, because we require every shilling.
Yeah.
So accountability on the uses of available funds and prioritizing education so that we do not now wait until schools have opened, like what is now
happening. Yes.
That now only 3,000 schools have received capitation grant. Over 30, we have more than 32,000 public schools that require this. But if only 3,000 have received, what is happening? At a time when they're preparing for the exams, they're preparing for 3 categories of exams. KPSEA at grade 6, KJSEA grade 9, and KCSE form 4. But they don't have the money. No wonder, I think part of it, because I saw it was part of the topic we were to cover, no wonder there is a lot of stress among the students. You saw what happened at St. George's yesterday. A small, just a small thing can...
The trigger is hair thin.
It's a trigger. It can trigger a huge thing.
Yes.
So it's because probably the uncertainty on how we are even handling this 3rd term. Because this 3rd term is when the ministry should have known that funds should have been in school early. Before even students should have settled. Yeah. Indeed, you know that a number of times their school administrators are aware that when it comes to any fee that is required to be paid, despite the fact that it should be free and compulsory as a basic level, but any fee that is required should actually be paid before term 3 begins. So that term 3, there is completely no interference. Because now it is interfering with exams. And by the way, one of the exams that it is interfering with has never been done in the modern KJSEA.
Yes.
So even how it is going to be handled, the practical nature of the parts that are supposed to be delivered, and maybe the CEO of NEC, Dr. Njue, should have been helping the public to understand
because it's almost here.
What is happening.
It's here with us.
Maybe you should host him more and more, because the parents,
actually,
the teachers...
find these people are quite... It's a big challenge.
No, get them, because they are our servants. By the way, we employ them. You know, I keep telling people I employ the president.
Yes.
I employ the ministers. I employ the MPs. I employ the MCAs. I employ all those people. When we want them to explain to us what they are doing and why we have those hiccups, they should be able to come. Because when they come, you'll be hearing it from their mouths. It would not be seen as speculation. Because for us, we have only limited time to explain a lot, and it might not be so complete and helpful. Let them come and explain to us, because we are paying them to do so.
Esther, I'm looking at also the private schools as well, and the teacher-student ratio in the country, we've never, just as Boaz has observed, the government has done something phenomenal. 76,000 teachers in what? In the 3 years that they have been in office. It's quite something, but just as Boaz has observed, we really need to do a bit more in regards to that. In the private sector, are you having this challenge of, trying to retrain your teachers, because most of the teachers were onboarded from the 844 curriculum. Are you having the challenges in training teachers? Are you having the challenges in teacher-student ratio?
No, for the training part, we don't have an issue, because like in my school, we do it fortnight. So we keep on looking at the curriculum, we revise it as a group, and we are able to become better so that we can meet the needs of these children. When it comes to the ratio, remember, for the private schools, the client come looking for you.
Yes.
And it's their money that has to work for them.
Yes.
So you have to give them quality. So for us, again, ratio is not an issue. And as my friend is saying here, the only thing with the government is the issue of integrity with the finances. If they become integral and again accountable, we can be able to move very far. Because anyone without education, where are they going to fit? And again, when we started 2010, we said that education is for everyone. Now, if we look at the child who is in Pokot, They cannot be able to access quality education. They're just looking for the government to help them. Why are we neglecting them? Why are we just becoming so egocentric? We're just minding about ourselves. So it's a call, we're giving them a call. They structure out everything and they become very, what can I say, intentional. For me, I like using the word intentionality. This is the thing, this is the elephant in the room, and this is how we are going to deal with it. Then now we plan on it and we make the baby steps as we look forward to have better results.
And since you have implemented the system, what challenges have you faced? In as much as you have said that you have not facing challenges of more or less like teacher training, which you're doing fortnight, which is not something that many schools can be able to do.
Sure.
What challenges did you face in implementing this system?
For us, again, when it comes now to the implementation, the curriculum, we have to depend on the government. And as I told you from the beginning, the textbooks were an issue. We did not receive the textbooks on time. For us, again, I will not say the money is an issue to us because the parents are paying for the education. But now, where the government comes in, especially for the resources, the learning materials is where we have an issue. Now we are moving on forth to grade 10. Are the materials ready? Because I believe by now the materials should be ready so that even these teachers can start interacting with them. Are they ready? I believe they are not ready. Yes.
And looking at the curriculum, because just like you said, you also trained in the UK system. Has it been, but we will be looking at that, has it been a big challenge for the reintegration for the student as well, because the schools, of course, can afford all this, but we will be looking at that as well. But for now, we are currently crossing over to Tatu City in Kiambu County. As you can see, the Minister for Information is currently speaking. Let's listen in.
Also allow me to commend the Master of Ceremony. A very ingenious way of telling us his story after we have spoken. I try to remember whether I saw him on his gadget, because with AI, anything is possible. But I did not see him use his gadget, so you may clap for him. Allow me to read a small speech. And as always, I have a disclaimer that when you hear good things, that is me. When you hear anything that does not augur very well with you, it is guys who make and they are around here. So when it works, it's good for me. When it doesn't, it ain't me, okay? Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure to be here this morning for the groundbreaking of Nextra Nairobi Data Center, a project that is both historic in scale and strategic in impact. This facility will mark a new chapter in Kenya's digital transformation journey, and I'm honored to officiate its commencement. According to information shared by Airtel and its subsidiary Nextra, this data center will be the largest in East Africa, delivering approximately 40 megawatts of total power, designed for 90 racks and advanced 7-layer security. Crucially, it will also support artificial intelligence and high-performance computing workloads, ensuring that Kenya is prepared for the digital demands of the future. You do agree with me, in this continent, Kenya leads and others follow. And hence why we are referred to as Silicon Savannah. I know we're doing well in the African space, but we should be doing well at the global level too. So I'm hoping Airtel and others like you will push us to that level where we are globally competitive. This facility is expected to be ready for service in the first quarter of 2027. You know, when in politics you mention 27, some of our hearts go, because you know what we have to go through to get to 27 August. Anyway, providing world-class reliability and scalability for hyperscalers, enterprises, governments, and citizens alike. Its scale and quality will firmly place Kenya on the map as a trusted host for global and regional digital infrastructure. This project is, above all, a reflection of confidence in Kenya, in our economy, and in our policies, and in our vision for a digital.
That has been the Information, Communication and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary William Kabogo. They are talking about the East Africa's largest data center that has just been commissioned at the Tatu City right here in Nairobi and puts Kenya firmly on the global map when it comes to digitization. Of course, we will be having a little bit more on that, but because of the interest of time, we are wrapping up this conversation on education. But kindly allow me to give you 10 seconds each for your closing statements. Kindly.
Okay, thank you so much for having me today. For me, I would love to encourage our government, because education is for all and every child is entitled to education. They should come up with a very good plan that will work so that everyone can be able to benefit. It saddens my heart when I hear the finances are not there and we are not sure of the upcoming examinations that the children ought to do at the end of this year. So it's a call that I'm giving our government to do something. Thank you so much.
Buzz?
Thank you. My final comments would be, one, Kenyans know that there are definitely challenges on the implementation of this education system, particularly the CBE. The thing that they expect from the government is simply to work with them, to open up and tell us where those challenges are and how they are addressing them, not to cover them up. And particularly when it comes to resources, we expect serious accountability to be undertaken, because we know there exist offices that are already helpful in telling us whether we are utilizing the resources well or not. So the government should partner with the public, the parents, the teachers, other stakeholders. Elimu Bora is doing a lot of research analysis and sharing with them. At times we don't see any response that they have. Instead, they think that we do not mean well. We mean well, and we want everybody to be in school and learning. Thank you.
Boaz Waruku from the education, from the Elimu Bora, an education stakeholder there, is talking about Elimu Bora, Sio Bora Elimu. And just next to me, we have Esther Njere Maina, who is an educationist. And thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for making time for this candid conversation. Unfortunately, we are out of time. It's very interesting, especially when it comes to KJ Ser, because as parents, we are also looking forward to that as well. We have been looking at education and also the candid conversation on the country. My name is Bentro Njue. Early on, we had Lensa Odingo, and now we are Anne Wangeshi as a sign language interpreter. But I'm now giving the baton to my colleague and friend, Khalid Abdullahi, for Kurunzi Mashinani and Tamrini. Have a good afternoon.
Welcome to the FIFA World Cup 26.
Kenya's stars on the football pitch continues to shine brighter. The dedication, the self-belief and enthusiasm across the board is visionary. Join us for the FIFA World Cup 2026 African qualifiers, Group F, from Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani. Live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. Your true sports partner.
Turns left, fires home. Kenya lead, building up to half-time.